On a much lighter note, it looks like we might have another weekend of parades coming this carnival.
How about that? The intergalactic Krewe of Chewbacchus will parade 2 weeks earlier than normal, and other crews may be asked to shift to different days. Carice Jackman joins us live from Frenchman Street to explain the changes. Carice.
That is right, Karen and Natalie. It all boils down to resources and security. And right now, the city tells us tonight that they are working alongside the crews that will be affected to work with them to find out some of their alternative dates right now. So far, 3 crews have been affected, which includes the Krewe of Chewbacchus. Now, at this moment, they haven't even gotten to the point where crews have applied for permits yet, so there could be more. The Krewe of Chewbacchus told us they found out on Wednesday they've been officially asked to move outside of the city-designated carnival season due to police resources and manpower. They will now roll on Saturday, February 9th. That's 2 Saturdays before their normal parade date, mainly because of their walking parade that started with just a few hundred people when it started in 2010 is now up to 2,000 people, which is apparently a big pull on police and secondary employment resources for the city, primarily when it comes to bomb-sniffing dogs. Now, Chad Dyer, the deputy CAO at City Hall, says that with the changes in size, it puts a strain on resources, so they're just trying to stay proactive and stay ahead.
There's a major difference between a walking crew and a full-fledged crew with parades and floats and all of that kind of thing. So it depends what the crew comes to us with and what the need is to determine what public safety resources would needed to be used for that and how we would deploy them based on what else is happening in the city that day.
The city also tells us they don't believe this will cost the city anything more by making these additional changes. We'll have more on this coming up tonight on Eyewitness News at 10. But for now, reporting live on Frenchman Street, I'm Carice Jackman, Eyewitness News.